Good afternoon, Year 5. Welcome to your Friday Maths lesson. Today we are going to do a little bit of recapping on multiplication. Before we do, though, we're going to start, as we always do now, with our mental maths. The 4 questions are on the screen, plus the shape here that you can have a go at naming. Pause the video now. Question number 1. Add 3.27 to 4.82. When I add these two values together, the answer that I get is 8.09. Question 2, what is 0.16 more than 0.59? So what are 16 hundredths, which is what this decimal written as a fraction would be, what are 16 hundredths more than 59 hundredths? When I add those two together, I end up with 0.75. Which is actually how we write fraction 3/4 as a decimal. Question number 3. What are the missing numbers? 7/10 equals 70 hundredths. Why is that the case? Because I times 10 by 10 to get to 100. So doing the same to my numerator will give me 70 hundredths. If I go back to my original fraction, how do I get from 7 to 700? I times by 100, so I do the same to my denominator. 10 times 100 would give me 1000. So these three fractions are all equivalent. Remember, equivalent means they look different, but they represent the same value. Question 4, which angles are acute angles? Acute angles are angles smaller than 90 degrees. 90 degrees is a right angle, so any angles smaller than that are known as acute angles. Which angles here then are less than 90 degrees? 87 degrees is, 27 degrees is, as is 1 degree. 90 degrees, as I've just said, is a right angle, so that one you wouldn't circle. The shape here at the right-hand side of the screen is called a scalene triangle. It's a three-sided shape, so it's a triangle. These lines here, remember we said if you have two lines which have both got the same number of lines drawn on there, that means that they are equivalent or they are equal in length. As you can see here, I've got one line on this line, two lines here and three lines here, which means each of the sides are all of different length. When you have a three-sided shape with all different size lengths, we call it a scalene triangle. Let's get into our maths lesson today then. So as I said, last maths lesson of the week, we are going to have a quick recap today to finish the half term looking at multiplication of two-digit numbers. We have done this in class, so it's something again that hopefully will be quite familiar to you. Let's start with one example. Let's have a look at 23 times 13. If I multiply those two numbers together, we have the expanded method for multiplication, if you can remember how we set it out. I also need at the side my brackets. My brackets are going to tell me the calculations that I'm going to do to help me get my final answer. So I'm doing 23, and I'm going to multiply 23 by 3 to start with. And my answer will go there for that. And then I'm going to do 23 times 10 underneath that, because I've partitioned 13 into 10 and 3. If I'm doing my first part of my calculation, I'm timesing my ones number. 3 ones times 3 ones gives me 9 ones. 2 tenths times 3 would be 60 tenths. Now I've put a 6 in there because if you remember, this is the tens column, so whatever digit in there has a value of 10. In this case, I have 6 of them, so 6 lots of 10 would be 60. That's why I can just put the 6 rather than the 6 and a 0 in there. Second part of my calculation is crucially important we get this right. Now, the 1 here is in the tens column, as I've just been talking about. Because it's in the tens column, I need to ensure that my answer is 10 times bigger. To do that, I put a 0 in here. By putting a 0 in here, it's moving all my digits one place to the left, which then allows me to do 3 times 1, which is 3, and 1 times 2, which is 2. Once I get to this part of my calculation, I can add my two answers together. 9 add 0 is 9. 6 add 3 is 9. 2 add 0 is 2. 299. So that is the long multiplication method that we practiced in class, that we have hopefully seen before and are quite comfortable with. Today, your work that goes with this worksheet, also your work that goes with this lesson, should I say, isn't a worksheet. I'm going to set you a My Maths task that links directly to this lesson. And I'm going to show you a second way of finding out how to multiply two-digit numbers together. And I'm going to use an example directly from My Maths, so you know what to do and how to answer it. So the answer, or the question, should I say, that we need to find the answer to is 36 times 64. This method relies on using partitioning to help us find the answer. This method can be used, as can the other method. I would suggest today that you work it out using the grid method, which is what we call this method here. But I would then go back and check my answer using the column method, which I've just shown you, to see whether your answers match. If they do, you've probably more than likely got it right. So how do we go about answering this sort of question using this method then? So, as I said, it is based on partitioning. So the first thing I need to do with my numbers is partition them. So 36 is broken up into 30 because the 3 is in the tens column, so it's got a value of 10, and I've got 3 of them. And the 6 is in the ones column, so I just make it a 6. 64 is broken up into 60 because I've got 6 tens and 4 ones, which just represent 4. Once I've partitioned both of my two-digit numbers, I can then write them into my grid method. You can partition one number down the side. It doesn't matter which number you put where, as long as you partition them correctly. One number down the side like that, and the other partition number broken up into the 2 boxes at the top. So when you partition it into tens and ones. And you write one number partitioned going this way and one number partitioned going that way. Once I get to this point, I am then going to work out the values of all these missing boxes. To do that, I work out where the two numbers meet, what the answer to those numbers multiplied is. So here I've got 60 times 30. Well, I know that 6 times 3 is 18. And I know that 60 times 30 compared to that is 100 times greater. So to make my answer 100 times greater, I move my 2 digits, or each digit 2 places to the left, and I put my 2 zeros in to hold the place. 60 times 6, well, 6 times 6 is 36. 60 times 6 is 10 times more than that. So I put my 0 in to move my digits one place to the left, which gives me the answer 360. Second one, second row, 4 times 30. 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 30 is 120. 6 times 4 is 24, which helps me fill in that box there. I then have a few other bits of calculations to do, and then we have got the final answer. So once I've got my totals for each of my boxes, I then work out the total for each row. So I work out for the first row here, where I'm highlighting here, I need to do 1,800 100, add 360. The answer in there would be 2,160. If you need to do that using the column method, by all means do that. Have a scrap piece of paper and do it on there. I would advise that if you've got big numbers and you've got hundreds and thousands to cross, which we did in that instance there. Once I found the total for that row, I found the total for this row, so 120, add 24. Don't need to kind of write that down, I don't think. I think we're okay with doing that mentally. It would be 144. Once I've got my two numbers here, I then need to add them finally to give me my answer to my original calculation. So I need to do 2,160, add 144, and starting with my lowest value column, 0 ones, add 4 ones is 4 ones, 6 tens, add 4 tens is 10 tens, which requires an exchange. 100 add 100 is 200. Add on my exchange 100 would give me 300. And 2,000 add 0,000 is 2,000. As I say, what I would then do is I would use the column method, which I've shown you in my previous example, to help you work out whether you end up with the same number. If you do end up, as I've already said, with the same number, it's likely that you've probably got the answer correct. As I mentioned then, today's lesson, or today's learning following the lesson, is purely on My Maths only. There isn't any worksheets to go with this, so don't think there are worksheets missing. There isn't any for this lesson. There is a multiplying two-digit numbers activity though set on My Maths. So go on there and you will use this method here to work out the answer to the questions being asked. It won't take you as long as probably the worksheets did, so you've got time to check each one using the alternative method, because that's really important that we're checking our answers. If you finish that, that's a great opportunity to catch up with any other further My Maths work that you may not have managed to do over the last couple of weeks. That should keep you busy for your maths lesson today. And then after half term, so not next week, but the following week, when we're back to our home learning, we will be able to take on our multiplication a little bit further. Have a good morning and a good half term. I will see you in a week's time.